look, it's another 9/11 memorial. Of course you have to have the date on it. And of course you have to have the two towers. And of course... Whoa. Whoa! Whoa! Yo!
I am not the biggest fan of hybrids. I'm just not. And no matter how a car company tries to package it, they try to present it to me, I'm never excited about it. And I probably never will, with the exception of this one. What's up, guys? My name is Chris, and welcome to The Breakdown, where we talk about everything cars, news, and reviews. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So regardless of how any car company has tried to package hybrids in the past 25 years, it just seems like it's never exciting. Whether it's the Prius, whether it's the Acura MDX hybrid, whether it's even the Chevy Malibu hybrid, we've never gotten excited about them. Probably one of the biggest and most successful hybrids on the market has been the Toyota Prius. The Honda Civic Hybrid has been on the market for the last 22 years, and it seems as though that while they've tried and they've tried and they tried, they couldn't quite seem to get the formula right. Howsoever, in this new iteration of the Honda Civic Hybrid, I think they might have gotten it. And in this video, I will be explaining why I think that this Honda Civic Hybrid is probably more different than anyone we've seen before. So with that being said, stick around and stay tuned, because you are now watching The Breakdown. So getting into it, Civic hybrids have never been a thing. Most people either opt for a Toyota or they opt for a non-hybrid model in terms of Civic. The Civic was supposed to be a direct competitor to the Prius, as the Prius had really taken off and kind of gotten everybody's attention, especially with the second generation. And for the first 3 generations of the Civic hybrid, it has always been a flop. Particularly because it was considered to be an alternative trim, not necessarily an alternative model. It was very hard to differentiate a Civic from a Civic hybrid unless you were just that keen on what was going on. And one of the big things that I always noticed was that the Civic hybrid always had different wheels. That's how I always knew. And so there was nothing exciting about a hybrid, with the exception of you got greater gas mileage, which was kind of redundant because Hondas have always gotten great gas mileage regardless of what you drove. So it was kind of pointless in that regard. This new Civic hybrid represents a few different things. One of the first few things that I've noticed with this Civic hybrid is that it represents a shift in where Honda's core audience is. The thing is that the Civic was never supposed to be the Accord, and now it is. Back in 1998, you could get you a Honda Accord V6 for roughly about $21,000 fully loaded, which in today's terms is about $42,000 to $43,000. But it came with a V6 that gave you about 200 horsepower, and that was pretty cool for the time. The same inline-4 hybrid on a Civic gets the exact same horsepower with even more torque, and the dimensions from an interior standpoint are much bigger and relative to that of a Accord from 2005 or 2006. Honda is shifting away from the turbocharged engines, which the turbocharged engines from 2016 were a big deal. Part of the reason why they were a big deal was because they gave us the oomph and torque that Hondas were not notorious for and put them in a very neat package. And this new generation of the Civic kind of carried that torch on with the 1.5 going in both the regular sedan as well as the Sport Touring, as well as the SI, as well as we're moving into the Integra space as well. The new Civic Hybrid is supposed to be the fastest non-Type R Civic ever. That is insane. And the real cool thing about this whole thing is that it gives you the efficiency of a hybrid, but also the efficiency of technology. We are beginning to see Honda really push us into the electrification route. And for all of you who don't know, electrification doesn't necessarily mean EVs. Now, there have been a few things that have been released from Honda in terms of EVs and where they're planning to go with the Prologue and the ZDX. But this new Civic Hybrid is representative of Honda's attempt to not only try to get into the mid-size space with the Civic, but also try to knock the Toyota Prius right in the fucking mouth. Now, a really curious thing is that we also begin to see Honda delete a lot of popular trims. For the first time ever, we are not seeing an EX trim. If you don't know, the EX is a staple for Honda and has been for quite some time. The EX trim has always been one of the higher trims from as long as I can recall, as far as the early 90s. I have not done any research on this, so don't hold me to this. But the EX trim was always seen as the higher expectation, what you got from a Honda when you want to spend some real money. This new one, we will not see an EX trim whatsoever. There are only 4 core trims in this lineup, which would be the LX, the Sport trim, the Sport Hybrid trim, and the Sport Touring Hybrid trim, which is a bit much. I don't know why Honda always likes to expound on trims because it just sounds exciting, but I digress. The EX trim and the EXL trim were always seen as the higher level trims, where you typically got the bigger engine and you typically got the nicer amenities to go along with it. This new sport hybrid touring trim is going to be the fastest non-Type R model. So much so that it's even going to call into question why even get an SI. While the SI may have the limited slip differential and a few sport tuning nods, a sense, the SI will focus more so on handling, whereas the hybrid Civic will focus more on efficiency with performance. Now, a few things that I want to know is, are we going to see the removal of the turbo? This will be the test mule for where we begin to see the next generation Type R, as more of these volume hybrid cells will be pushed out. It'll give Honda an opportunity to see exactly what's going on with their Civic hybrids, how people are taking to them, and whether or not they should include that type of technology into the Type R. In addition to, we probably will get our hands on the first manual hybrid going forward since the first generation of the Civic Hybrid. Now, these are all speculations, but this new generation of the Civic Hybrid is really, really big because we will begin to see other models. Now, the Honda Accord Hybrid is not exactly doing that well, and it's not because that is a hybrid, but more importantly because it's fugly. With the new styling of the Civic, we will probably get a really good understanding of what the market wants and whether or not this Civic Hybrid will be a good thing. The really cool thing is that with this new 2-liter combined with the electric motors, you can pretty much get a 0 to 60 straight line time of about 6.7 seconds, I would estimate, closer to the same degree that you could get with the Civic Si as a manual. Keep in mind that the torque is almost instant because of the electric motors, so it probably will be faster if you get the proper tires to assist it with it, because we all know the manufacturers never put the right tires on the first time. But this new Civic Hybrid, yes. Now the question is will it perform in terms of sales? Honestly, it has no choice. As Honda continues to delete a lot of their other trims and models as a form of consolidation, the hybrid is going to be the exclusive way that Honda is going to start building these Civics, from a speculation, of course. And as we begin to phase our way into Civic hybrids, we will begin to see the deletion of more internal combustion engines, and we will completely be, almost exclusively be, either hybrid or fully electric. The problem with this is that it will take an adjustment period, and I don't know Honda has the patience to see whether or not the Civic Hybrid will exactly perform the way that it should, considering all variables. The other problem is that Toyota is probably going to start producing other exciting models like they did with the Prius, and that will be a direct line of competition. There also have been some controversies with the Honda Civic Hybrid in the past. Several lawsuits have been filed in the past with both the second and third generation, particularly because they don't exactly get the mileage that Honda has claimed. And I won't get into the lawsuits, but basically all I can tell you is that they won by technicality. But in addition to the fuel efficiency that you can kind of expect with this, the biggest complaint about the Honda Civic Hybrid from many journalists, while they were wild, is the ride quality kind of sucked. But we can only expect so much from a Civic. We're not driving a Lexus, so it kind of comes with the territory. But being that this is a Civic that has become more refined than any other generation before it, it would not be surprising that going forward that this Honda Civic Hybrid will outpace everything that is supposed to be a sedan in Honda's lineup. Now, I do think that in the future we will begin to see more exciting hybrids coming forward, as this will be the test marker for the younger generation and incoming buyers. And if you don't know, guys, I love Civics. I love them. But the thing is that the Accord has become way too refined, the CR-V has become way too practical, and nobody really cares about the ridge lines except the niche market. And the Odyssey is very, very, very interesting, and I wonder why Honda has never done a Odyssey, has never been a hybrid in itself. You would think that would have been the first one, but whatever. Going this route, we can expect some really, really, really exciting models. My real hope is that we get a Honda Civic Si Hybrid in the future, because the Honda Civic Hybrid along with the Integra Hybrid would be amazing. If you don't remember, at one point or another, Honda also did a Acura model with the MDX as a hybrid that nobody bought. In the upcoming future, this Civic Hybrid represents a pretty good point of where Honda is shifting us forward. And the bigger question is, will we stop getting turbocharged models and just focus exclusively on hybrids and EVs, or will we get a little bit of both? But leave me a comment below and let me know what your experience on Civic hybrids and how you really enjoyed them, or if you haven't enjoyed them and what were your problems, because I'm pretty curious to know where that's going. But with that being said, this Civic Hybrid is super freaking different and you need to pay attention. So with that being said, until the next episode, I will see you guys later.